Are you listening? Damn. Yeah. Are you listening? Damn. Yeah. Yeah.
Loving how you wind up for me. Tonight is all on me. Mash up the place for me. Yeah, yeah. She just wanna highlight. Ooh, that body talk to me. I need a taste, baby. Loving the way you move around me. No more delay. No, you can wait to shut it down. Want you show me how you work it. I can't find no flaws, you perfect. Cause every time that you come around my way, I keep falling again. I keep falling again. And every time that you come across my mind, I keep falling again. I keep falling again. In love. Yeah.
Hey guys, welcome to the 5 F's to Love Real Talk with the ladies. I wanted to say just before we even get started that we are in season 3, and I don't know if I properly thanked everybody who has started with me since season 1. And I want to say it's been such a privilege and honor, and I really appreciate everybody's support. I got to do a special shout out to Precious and to Roz. They have been rolling with me since season 1. And I can only say that I feel like it's only gotten better since we started to now. And I don't think everybody knows this. We actually started live in a studio, and we were on just once a week, which is on Friday. Season 2, we went to 5 days a week. And now in season 3, we're on 7 days a week. So I'm going to say that you guys have been rocking with me. Season 2, we added Dr. Mac and Rhumel. They have been holding it down. I mean, just like crazy. And then this year, we added so many great women. But I really have to say, for everybody who has joined the cast and has been on with me for the past 3 years, I really love and appreciate everybody's support. It has really meant a lot to me. And everyone who is coming, I welcome you with open arms, because our whole purpose for this platform is just to really give people a place where they can share their thoughts in hoping that we can help someone and connect with someone. So thanks again, ladies, for joining us, and let's get started with Real Talk with the ladies. Now I'm going to tell you, I just shouted her out, so you know I got to bring the demon with her. Precious, you have been my ride or die since we started this and before we started. So I just want to say thanks. I love you, I appreciate you, and you've been like a total rock star for me, like all the time, and I really appreciate that. Don't make nobody get emotional, Precious. You know how I am about that. Okay. Rhumel, you and Dr. Mac. All I gotta say is I couldn't. Season 2 with us, we just held it down, and we had great conversations. The orgasm podcast was the best one to me because it was a 2-parter, and we got a chance to really talk about the women. We're gonna talk about it again. Right? Yeah. Because women need to know it's okay to have orgasm and feel good about yourself in a relationship. And I'm going to tell you right now, this is like my sister from another mother. This Holly, right? Holly, I'm going to tell you, I talk about you even when you're not on the show. I talk about you. And I say it's so funny how you bond with people and you have so much in common. So Holly and I they're single moms, raised boys, and we have some other things in common that you guys will hear about on some other podcasts coming up. But I'm going to tell you, it's not norm. And just to let you guys know, I lived on the East Coast for 20 years. I was in Delaware and she's in Pennsylvania. So that's just like really kind of weird situation, the dynamic of it all. But I just wanted to say personally to you guys, I really appreciate you rocking with me, because it has been a journey for sure. For sure. And it was not anticipated. I just developed a compatibility app, and then it turned into all of this, on top of the other 2 companies that I run. So I really appreciate everybody's support and hanging in there with me. And I'm looking forward to going to the next level, which everybody knows is taking it to network. So I think we have some really great conversations. And if you're watching us right now, be sure to like and share and subscribe to our YouTube channel. So tonight's conversation, I'm ready. Are y'all ready? Because it's hot. It's getting
We're gonna
hot.
keep it a beam. We're gonna keep it a beam.
Look at Holly's like, I'm always ready. What am I gonna do with her? Rhumel, I'm gonna need you to be the voice of reason tonight because we see Holly got that extra in her tonight.
I will do my best. I will do my best.
Okay, so I'm coming in heavy. Just
Uh-oh.
we gonna hammer this out because we need to really talk about us as women and how we are in these relationships so we can help one another. So here we go, ladies. What is your definition of love versus happiness in a relationship? And so, Rhumel, you the married lady. I'm starting off with you.
I knew you were gonna do that, Christine.
Darn right. Darn right I am.
Okay. So love is definitely different than happiness. Love is definitely a feeling, but I think happiness comes from within, whereas like love is something you share.
Okay.
That's how I would maybe. You
Okay,
guys can
no,
change my
let's hear it.
mind too.
Okay,
that's what I'm gonna go with
Precious.
right now.
So I've been in love with men who haven't loved me back, right? And there's something about when you see someone you're in love with, it's just like, snack. I love it. Happiness, I can't say I found in those relationships. It was fun. It was cool to a certain point. But happiness, to go with Queen Rhumel, I think that's really internal. And it's not based on what everybody says it is. For me, I want to feel like hugged up from the inside out and like I matter and that you now come through. That's what I want to feel about happiness. Love, you could be like the like Osama bin Laden. If someone's in love with you, they will go through a firestorm. They will go to Antarctica to go find you and take care of you. And I'm hoping to have that again. Reciprocated.
You know what, the way you say so, sometimes I want to tear up, and you know I'm not an emotional person, but I know what you're talking about. That's why it's making me tear up. Okay, Holly, you about to speak for both of us. I already know. Hit it, Holly. I won't have to say nothing.
So yeah, love is definitely a component of happiness. It's not equating to happiness. I think that's very important for people to know. Happiness is definitely something that you have to have before you even know how to love. It's not, you can't be an unhappy person and love. It's not going to work out. For me personally, I don't think I really knew what love was until I had my son. As far as, like, of course, I love my parents, but being in charge of another person's well-being really put me in a different space of responsibility when it comes to love, because that is definitely a facet of it. You have to understand that when you love someone, you are responsible for how they feel in a moment, in a day, in an hour, whenever. I am genuinely always happy. It doesn't necessarily mean I'm in love.
You know what, Holly? You don't try to get all theological on me over there.
Yeah,
I know. Then she hit it in like, okay, this is what I'm thinking. I have
what
to
you
tell
want me to do? You want me to quote the Lauryn Hill album? I mean, the greatest love album of all time? Because I can do that all
I thought
day.
you were. I thought that's where you was going. I was like, wait a minute, But I have to honestly say, I thought I knew what love was. I really did. I thought I knew what love was. So the love of my son, well, first of all, the love of my parents, which are right there. That's those people. I'm not going to get emotional, but I'm grateful because that man who raised me was my stepfather. And so for a person to love me the way he did, who did not birth me, I saw that as my first true love, like understanding what love was, and to watch him love my mother unconditionally. So that to me was like I needed to emulate that. And then when I had my son, that was that I will lay my life in front of a truck for you, love,
Yeah,
because I could not love you more, right?
sure.
Don't make me sing Sade. Okay, wait a minute. So I loved him, but then that I love a man that kind of way, I haven't experienced it yet. I have not met a man yet that I just want to lay my life out or just I haven't don't do cartwheels for. I haven't had that type of love. So I'm waiting on it. So if you think you that type of lover, call me. But if you're not, don't call me. Okay, because that's what I'm looking for. And the thing is, I think we all have our different versions or concepts of what love and happiness is. And I'm going to tell you, my truest form of happiness is my son. I light up like a light bulb. I don't care if it's good, bad, or different. He calling on some foolishness. That's my pure joy. I just want to hear his voice. And sometimes I call him on video call and he said, Mama, I said, I just need to see my baby. I just need that moment of happiness, and just seeing his face shifts everything for me. So that's just real talk. Man, y'all need to be crunching up the numbers. So the question I have for this is, because, as women, we about to do some real talking right now. So if you're not happy with yourself, are you capable of being happy or having someone else or loving someone else? Are you capable if you're not happy with yourself?
I think that there's a bit of ebb and flow with that. Okay. Because life be lifing sometimes, and you're just not happy at sometimes in your life. But I think that doesn't keep you from loving your children, or it doesn't necessarily keep you from loving your husband. But sometimes you have to figure out the equilibrium and to happiness again. I will be the first to tell you, I wasn't always happy. I wasn't always happy in my marriage. I wasn't always happy as a mother. I mean, I love my children, but there are a lot of responsibilities and a lot of stressors that go along with being a mom. And so for me, it took me a while to get to finding what happy was again. That's just my
I
way
like
with
that
it.
honesty. I think a lot of people think when you get married, it's going to be a piece of cake and you're just going to roll out. And that's not the
Yeah,
case.
when
I
a
mean,
piece
it
of
doesn't
cake.
always
Some
be
people
like
in relationships before they get married. I'm like,
right?
But Christy,
Because-
but I agree. I know, the people say, oh, you if you don't love yourself, you can't love anybody else. I said, I see people being loved on all day, every day, who don't like themselves, who don't love themselves. And as I look over my life, we can talk about the actor, because I'm telling you, there was something so special about him. 2 years later, I'm just sitting here like, I'm still utterly fascinated. I can hear I hear his voice in my mind. We're getting close to Valentine's Day, and I realize, we're coming up on another year. Did I love myself at the time? No. But he made me feel like, well, at 327, maybe I was a whole snack. Okay, well, maybe I get my okay, all right. And
I like that
I didn't love
approach.
myself. I mean, I think like most of my life, I didn't love myself. So I always looked on the outside for validation from other people. And I'm thinking we're getting close to Valentine's Day. Not that I'm looking for cards and chocolates and stuff like that. I might get that for myself if you really want me to be honest. But I don't think you need to love yourself to be able to love others, because I see it done on a daily basis. I see a lot of walking wounded out here, whether they're in relationships, whether they have kids or not, and they just pour into something else, so they don't think about what they don't have on the inside.
Okay, Holly.
Just Precious, if you're watching someone who's walking wounded and in a relationship and not happy, but in a relationship, is it real? Or is the love masking an insecurity?
I think the love can mask an insecurity. I mean, you're talking to someone who was tossed aside for most of my life. So it didn't mean I didn't love other people. The rejection was so bad that I couldn't imagine anybody ever wanting me, but it doesn't mean that I didn't want other people. It doesn't mean I didn't want a hug. It doesn't mean that I don't want to cheer up someone else so that they don't feel the way I feel.
Sure.
That's interesting. You asked that, Holly. And I'm
That's
only saying that
no
because
question, Holly.
I know, right? Holly, I can just go ahead and produce the show and drop off. Like, just take over. Like, I'm good. I could just drop off right now. Holly was like, well, let me ask you a question. I love it. For me, I think that it demands more of the other person. Your insecurity then becomes a demand or a need for someone to fulfill something. So I think it puts more stress on a relationship. And I say that because for me, I needed more validation.
Mm.
And I think it was just to them, it was like, but Jesus, I just texted you. I just called you. Like, what more do you need? And that's the whole thing. And so I think when people get into relationships and they're not healthy, they need to understand the demand that they're placing on another person.
Right.
Because even though you may not be saying it, your actions are saying it. Right. So, folks, when we get back from this quick commercial break, Holly gonna tell us, her thoughts. I mean, she did the whole theologicals on us. We'll be right back after this quick commercial break. Mm-hmm. And while we're doing this, you might want to download the compatibility app.
My name is Christine Burkette, the inventor of the 5 F's to Love. This is a compatibility app. It's an app that gives you an opportunity to rate words that start with the letter F in chronological order of importance to you, to help you find your one true love, your soulmate, and the person you're going to spend the rest of your life with. So after you've taken the time to rate your F's in chronological order, you send a link to the person, you just met, or the person you've been dating for quite some time. Or maybe it's the person you've been married to for 30 to 40 to 50 years. And then you compare your top 5 F's to find out what things you have in common and things that you may perhaps need to work on. This is taking a simplistic perspective on how to find your one true love, your soulmate, the person you're going to spend the rest of your life with. And thank you for downloading the 5 F's app.
Hey guys, welcome back. We were having a stimulating conversation and I need to keep it going. Ladies in relationships, whether it be men or women, I find that I've been in a relationship with men who were very inadequate and it just required more from me. I'm not a very big, text call. If I text you in the morning, I'm good. That'll last me to the night. I don't need to talk all day and I'm good with that. But then I find some people need that. So Holly, what about you? Do you feel that you need to really like yourself or the person that you're with? You can see that there's a difference when they're not feeling good about themselves?
Oh, absolutely. There's definitely more work involved especially in the initial phases of learning each other when someone's not 100% comfortable with themselves or not happy. I've been in situations where I felt like instead of being someone's lady or whatever title we're going to give it, I was more their therapist. And that just makes for an uncomfortable situation. I work hard. I have my own issues. I really don't want to come home and with someone I'm newly talking to have to quell the craziness to say without putting somebody's business out there, just to say
Did you say quell the craziness?
Yes.
I love that.
I try to be very understanding. I'm a patient person and I want to be there and I want to listen and I want to help my king get through something. But at the same time, I ain't your mama. I don't want to be your mama and I dang sure ain't getting paid to be a therapist. So exercise.
It's like for you, it's a fine line between sharing and me counseling.
Absolutely.
Your insecurities. And that's a good point. It really is. I like that. TNT, which is Tim from Real Talk with the Men. Thank you, sir, for joining us. He said, "Hey, Christine, what's up, ladies?
What's
we really
up?
like when our fellow cast members from other shows check us out. We really appreciate it." So, ladies, that leads into what Holly just said. Is love or happiness an action word for you? Is love or happiness an action word for you? And Rhumel, I'm not going to put you in the hot seat. I'm going to start with Precious.
You would bring up the queen who, excuse me.
Look, see how she's trying to get out of it, Rhumel? She's going to start coughing on purpose.
She's going to choke.
She's going to choke. That way she don't have to.
No, but for real, when I think of when I think of love, in my mind, because clearly I'm not dating right now. I do have some who want me. I'm just not. I feel honestly stuck.
Did you say you know some people that want you? All right, Harry.
I do. I
I
do.
love that.
But
Holly,
Harry,
me and Holly trying to get on the want list. Look, right, Holly.
yeah, but you know what? I become like they're expressing an interest, and I'm like this. Oh, I said I wanted this, but there's this fear in me, like like Holly, when you brought up, you're not trying to be somebody's therapist or their mom. I'm not asking for that, but I'm a little damaged, and I felt like I must have missed a couple of classes in college on how to get myself together. You're like, and not be worried. Well, what if he really doesn't like me? Or like all these things go through my mind. I'm like, you know what? Maybe I should. I'll get distracted with other things. Mm-hmm. She's not even showing no interest because I have before and got shut down. So I'm like, I don't put myself back out there again. It was rough, tough, and dangerous. And so, yeah, that's where I am. I think of love like, oh, we could be talking on the phone. We could be holding hands. We could be hearing each other beyond the noise and craziness, like you said, of the world. That would
love is. So for you, Precious, love is an action. It's not just a word, it's an action. But it's happiness. Happiness is an action, or it's just you. It's
that I feel is me. And I have moments of happiness. I feel like I'm content right now. Happiness is when I'm traveling and when I'm meeting people. I'm eating some good food. We chopping it up.
Happiness, the way you're describing it for you, is also an action. They're both actions for you. So, gentlemen, I say that because if you hook up with her, it's action. Just keep it real. She wants
action Jackson. Action
Jackson. So, Holly, what about you? Is love an action?
They're both an action for me.
I love her.
You can't. First of all, you can't exist in this world without happiness. You cannot exist in this world without love. You need it from somewhere at some point, at some time. If you walk around here sad and never happy, you ain't going to be here too long. You walk around here unloved, you're going to be unhappy. So you have to get all of this from somewhere, whether it's from yourself, from the people that you keep close in your circle, a pet, a relative, a child. You need something to feed that. And for everybody, it's different. Like what I need to feel loved is going to be different than what Rhumel needs to feel loved or Precious needs to feel loved. But you have to know that about yourself to know what it takes to feel loved.
I love that. That's a good, I appreciate that. You're right. You got to know what's important. Forrest from Honey, the Finance Squad on Saturday. All right, Forrest. He said, what's up, ladies? Thanks again, fellow cast members, for tuning in. And then Holly, Mr. Major said, hello, Holly. All right, Mr. Major. Look. Okay. Rhumel, what's up with you? Is love or happiness an action for you?
I definitely agree. I agree with both Precious and Holly. They have made some really great points about what love and happiness is to them. I think being married, for me, love is really kind of easy. It's like doing the things that supports the other, and knowing what those things are, kind of like what Holly said, like understanding what it is. For me, if you really love me, you take the garbage out. That is that is my top, love language right there. Right. Take the garbage out.
So basically, love is an action for you.
It is. I mean, to a certain extent, there are some transactions that happen that make me happy and feel loved and supported.
I think that's awesome. And I agree with the ladies as well. Love is an action. And my happiness is dependent upon me, but you can poke the bear on my happiness too. I want to be clear. Don't poke it though, because all I got to say is you might not like what comes out. Because my temperament is I'm really easy. You got to do a lot to poke the bear. But once you do, I can make you cry with some words.
Uh-oh.
I can tear it up. I can rip you. I've had some grown men cry on me because I don't. Yeah, we don't. But that people just don't do it though. Like I'm good. It takes a lot to get me there though, but you can get me there. Okay, so sometimes as women and as men, now y'all know y'all didn't have these one-nighters, and people think y'all in a relationship. So this is just a whole flashback. We keeping it real tonight. So is sex and love synonymous with one another, or can you separate them? Men seem to think we are very emotional, and it's about the booty calls. No, she didn't. Of course, Dr. Mac will show up when we talking about sex.
I know that's
Really,
right.
Dr.
You
Mac?
already know.
Hey, Dr.
You already know.
Hi. Right on time, you say.
You right on time, Dr. Mac. You must have knew that question was coming. You a trip. She said, "Oh, really? We talking about sex is synonymous with love."
Let's see how the
You're
Wi-Fi
right
is in this new
now.
place.
Oh my gosh! So just to let you guys know, Dr. Mac just moved,
it's
so it may
bad.
be a little hiccup with her Wi-Fi. So if she goes in and out, we're going to excuse her because, honey, she in the middle. She's still in moving. Okay, so Holly, I'm gonna hit you first because we're gonna end on Dr. Mac. Dr. Mac is about to throw she about to throw the academics out on us. She gonna be like, well,
They are not synonymous.
all right.
Anybody who says that those are synonymous is fooling themselves. But the point and the problem will always be, if you're not in love, don't give 100% of the sex. You got to do like 60, maybe 70%. Otherwise, they gonna think you in love, and we can't be having you keep coming back. I'm not trying to get midnight texts. My phone gets turned off at 10:30. I ain't got time for all that, especially on a work night because I got to get up early. So we're not doing no late night booty calls over here.
I like that. Holly said, "Don't be giving it all you got if you ain't really in like that. Don't be giving it all you got." I like that. I'm gonna have to remember that because sometimes I ain't gonna lie. Depending on what you look like, I get a little caught up. I forget what's happening. I just get all caught up in it. I'm gonna have to put that on a sticker or something so I can see it when it's going down. Rhumel, just are you giving it all you got over there? Is sex and love, synonymous? What's going on?
Well, now they are, but we weren't always married and we weren't always in love before we had sex, and that was pretty cool too.
You know, I love her. She is so adorable. She's like, and that was pretty cool too, though.
Yeah, that was pretty good too. But I don't think you have to be in love in order to have sex and to have some really good sex.
Is he getting it if he takes the trash out though?
He will get it. He will get it if he takes the trash out. That is guaranteed.
Look at Precious. Precious say,
I like that. I think everything should be incentivized.
Dr. Mac. Dr. Mac, go ahead on. Just go. You already didn't start. Go ahead on.
It's not synonymous. I think if you love sex yourself and you have like ownership of it, you can pick who you feel like, experiencing it with and be completely detached because you don't feel like being in love at the moment. You feel like being into sex. And sometimes the person that you love the most, you may not be comfortable with doing some things that are considered sexual deviations. So some men, I've heard them say, hey, I could be into some stuff, but I'm not going to do that to my wife.
Yeah.
That there's nothing that you can kind of do to shift that. They have just kind of categorized what they're comfortable doing with somebody who they have a day-to-day lifelong commitment with. So, a lot of different aspects of it can be separate. In addition to that, sex can become a lot better the deeper you fall in love. Right? Because love grows after you go through all these experiences and you kind of have these ebbs and flows. So it's like, well, okay, almost kind of what Holly said, but for different reasoning. I'm going to add this, or I'm going to try this, or I'm so comfortable with you now. I know I said I'd never, but I'll try. Oh my God, I like it. Let's do that again. And the more you become more vulnerable and you become more connected with the person, your sex list has grown and you've added some stuff that maybe you've never even thought about. So it's really about how you want to play it and how you want to control it. but it's two separate things. And both of them come with a lot of work. But if you want love and sex, that's double the responsibility.
It's definitely double. I don't know who Mr. Major is, but Holly, he said noted.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right. I just need to go. Folks, this is Real Talk with the Ladies, and we'll be right back after these messages on the 5Fs to Love Network. Welcome back to Real Talk with the Ladies. If you're just joining us, we are in a conversation about basically love and happiness, and are they synonymous? And basically what came out of that is that you can get down on it and don't have to love the person. You got to like them though. And you can't pull all the tricks out the bag if you ain't really feeling them. You got to hold back, okay? So listen, if you're watching this right now, you can go ahead and like whatever social media platform you're watching us on right now. If you could like us and also share, that would be great. So listen, guys, we're going to continue this conversation. I'm learning a lot because I'm going to tell you, I got to like you a little bit to give you some. We're going to be clear. I can't be, I just meet you and I'm just, what's up though? I got to like you a little bit. Mm-hmm. So when I say like you a little bit, you got to make, these nipples got to get tight like a mug and be like, hello.
So Christine, it says women know in the first 10 minutes. Data supports that women know in the first 10 minutes.
That's what I'm saying. If you make the nipples hard, boom, we good. Then I can just, I don't need to know your full name. Just the first name is good.
It's called You Can Talk Our Panties Up.
Honey, that's what I'm saying.
Very much so. If you would have just...
You know what, Dr. Mac, you always pulling out the data to support my foolishness.
I have to support it.
Support my foolishness, because sometimes I feel like, well, and you know what, I'm going to say this, the more shows that I watch, it really shows women with a lot more free liberty into just having sexual experiences without being tagged a hoe.
Right.
And I really like that, because I was watching a show today, Grand Crew, because it was on in the office, by the way, it was on. And so I'm watching it, through the little glass wall, I'm watching it. And it kind of surprised me, because the woman was friends with a group of guys. She was a mature sized woman and she was throwing it down. She had multiple lovers. I said, all right, girl. So I said, well, let me find this show when I get home so I can get engaged. It's called Grand Crew. It's a group of Black folks. And I want to say it's on Peacock because I think that's what they were watching. But it's a really great show. But it's just showing how a real sized woman is just out there putting it down, and her boys ain't even, they like, oh, dang, you doing it. They're not even clowning her. So
TLC is launching the female version of Sister Wives, where women are married to more than one man, and baby, the leading ladies are Black women, and they have 2 husbands.
Don't get me to
I'm
watch
not
that
mad
show.
at it.
And we
It's a
know
lot of work, though.
if they're purchasing a show like that, a major network, that means they're clear that they've been cleared, that we ready for this, because they wouldn't put it on TV if they didn't think anybody was going to watch.
You better believe it, don't, because I don't even watch a TLC, but I will watch a TLC now.
I said,
Okay.
really, sis? I saw
sounds
the commercial. I said,
I will watch a TLC now.
She up there subscribing to the stream now. Look at her.
Look, honey, don't put my business in the stream. Don't do it, Holly. You know that. Look, didn't I tell y'all we the same? Holly, you know I'm over here on it. I'm like,
Oh no, I'm a P Valley girl. I stay on Stars.
down in the valley where the girls get naked. I miss Uncle Clifford.
I'm over
Uncle
here
Clifford.
right now.
I need me an Uncle Clifford.
I miss Holly. I'm gonna come visit. We're gonna be.
And by the way, Holly, I met Uncle Clifford too.
Stop it.
Honey, Uncle Clifford,
all I want for my birthday, please.
well, I didn't met, Uncle Clifford's from Detroit.
I didn't ask for what I asked for.
Oh,
October
no,
10th.
she did. He threw an event, so I went. I took pictures. I posted on YouTube. He's real tall, man. He's a giant.
Mm-hmm.
He's over 6 foot tall without heels.
I just want to wear pink to his next event. That's
okay,
it.
all right. Well, then I got you. I'm gonna find
Thank
out. I know the person who throw his events. I'm gonna put the word out on the street. Lord, she said, just let me get up in there.
That's
Okay, our next question. Basically, we didn't answer this already though. Have you ever not had sex with someone because of a verbal disagreement? And we're talking about them sisters who say they holding out until their husbands act right. That's really what we're talking about. But have y'all ever done that?
No,
I don't hold out.
I don't hold out.
Mm-mm.
Listen, it's been years.
What?
Yeah, my ex-fiance, when I found out he had, stepped out, I just did not get.
Mm-hmm.
I just couldn't. I literally couldn't. And, trying to force myself, I'm like, I don't trust this dude. And I didn't. And eventually, I exited stage left to the shock and horror. I was like, I don't want nothing in this house. I will walk out with the clothes on my back. And, because I can start over very easily. But I was like,
right.
I don't want nothing from this. I don't want nothing that reminds me that we were ever together. Years later, I'm just like, we can, I'm sure we can be cool today. We ain't spoken, 13 years? But yeah, I couldn't.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm being clear. We can argue, but I'm having sex. I'm be like, are you done? Because I'm done and let's get with it. To me, sex is separate from the issue at hand.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean I'm not any longer attracted to you. But I do find that some women are like, no, I'm holding out, until I get what I want. My thing is,
I misunderstood. I wasn't just holding out just to be holding out.
No, you held out on legitimate. He was
like,
messing around. That's different. That ain't no verbal disagreement. You didn't broke the trust ring. And look, who is this right here? I got to put my glasses on.
Absolutely not.
That's why I was like, who is this? I said, Pretty Nikki. She said, absolutely not. Pretty Nikki say, I'm giving it up at all costs. All right, Pretty Nikki, that's what I'm saying.
Now, if it was an actor, I don't care how mad I was. I need some.
Right.
Listen,
Rhumel did a shout out. Rhumel said, no, I'm getting it in. I don't know what's happening, but I'm not gonna not get it. And so what do you guys think about women who do that though?
Who you want to go to?
Go ahead.
Probably like,
you know what, Dr. Mac, why are you always trying to pull out the little slide eye on me?
I just want to know, I'm obeying.
Ooh, she said the honor and obeyance.
I mean, if you holding out over a disagreement, you missing out.
Yeah.
Because that's the best loving right there, though.
I think using so when we look at sex like a necessity, right? And if we have a partnership, and I'm not saying like, Precious, that person, obviously that was some hurt and some disrespect and some pain. But I mean, if we're just having our, regular disagreement because we're in a relationship and that's going to happen, I have to think about how I feel as a woman weaponizing my sex. And making it punitive, like you have to get, no checks on your report card. It's very emasculating and it's quite disrespectful, because I feel like if necessities are, bills being paid or, food on the table or whatever it is that he provides for you according to what you desire or what you claim is a necessity, for your life, right? And when you decide to commit to someone and say, I'm going to give you what you need. If he says, you know what, I cover, the utilities and I get all the groceries. If he has a disagreement with you, you would be pissed off if he cut the lights off. Or if he said, you know what, for that remark, no lights, we would be, are you serious? That's how he's going to treat you. That's how we would gossip to our girlfriends. But we say, you didn't do this right. You didn't do that right. So no sex. The harsh reality is every woman was born with the same organ that produces the same orgasm. So if you move arrogantly, consistently, as if no other woman is willing, the rude awakening will meet you for that arrogance. So I tell women that hold out to humble themselves if they have somebody committed enough to always want to give it to them.
You know what?
What if you're not getting that though? Like I don't get that. So I can't.
So whatever you deem a necessity, right? If every single day, your partner is the person that makes the meals, you just don't have the schedule. So you have an agreement that they do the grocery shopping, and for the last however many years, your meals are made. You don't not get dinner because you guys got into it, because that was the agreement based on our partnership.
Right. Okay. I get what you're saying.
Or whatever it is. These are just examples
for this conversation, so I can click off. But sometimes I feel like in these conversations, like if you're the woman who never got that, I don't know what we're talking about. Like there's no one cooking meals. There's no
we're speaking. So people who haven't experienced an agreed upon partnership where their needs are being met and they're meeting someone else's needs, then this doesn't yet apply. So we're speaking of your future husband that you actually have a conversation with, and he has a list of what your needs are, and he works to meet them. So if you have a person that is working to meet them in the future, and one of his needs include your body, I'm saying that if he's doing his job, meeting your needs, don't take away his because of a verbal disagreement. And he's coming, and we're going to have this conversation when y'all have that first disagreement after the honeymoon stage, and y'all count down.
Well, Dr. Mack, you on speed dial. When something go down like that, I'll be like, wait a minute. I got to step out for a minute. I got to call Dr. Mack because it's about to go down.
When the number come up, I'm going to say, oh, Christine.
Look, because first of all y'all going to be at the wedding because it's going to be unbelievable that I even got married in the first place. So we just going to be like, boop, Christine, this is what's going down. But let me tell you something, Precious. In our world as single ladies, it for us, if we want to have sex, we're having sex. We don't care about the disagreement. But a lot of times as married women, when you've been married a long time, sometimes they do. They just be like, until I get what I want, I'm tightening this down. And that's what Dr. Mack is saying. I know a lot of women who do that. And like she's saying, well, if you ain't giving it up, where are they going? They're going somewhere. So don't put your man out on the street. You know what?
Can I just add this, Christine?
Yeah.
If you punish yourself,
girl,
just because you all don't like each other in that moment.
Look at Dr.
You know what I mean? Why are we punishing ourselves?
We're still gonna eat, right? We're gonna argue and have dinner.
Exactly.
You're still hungry.
And you go ahead and you know what? And sometimes it's not even that serious. Right? You mad, you get over it, you have an orgasm, and everybody's good. I mean, for the big stuff, maybe not so much, but but for the stuff that a lot of people argue over, have some sex. It's good for you.
A verbal agreement, I can have sex. Now, if Holly called me and say she saw my husband having dinner with ukulele, first of all, it's going down. I'm slashing tires. Stuff is going down. That's
questionable.
It's already been handled by the time I've called you. It has already been handled.
Holly has slashed tires. She has slashed tires in the parking lot.
At first, call later.
See, that's what I'm saying. That's what people don't understand. She was like, Christine, first of all, she didn't took a picture. He booed up on her. And then Holly like, what's his plate number? That's right. Get them tires because I'm on my way. That's going full. What's her name? Angela Bassett in that movie. Lord Jesus. That's what we're going full Angela Bassett. Okay, Pretty Nikki, you might as well just be on the show with us virtually. Pretty Nikki said, what that holdout, are you using sex as a weapon? That's what I'm saying. You can't do that. And Pretty Nikki say couples have disagreements. Keep having great, healthy sex. You better know it, because she said Holly is pulling up. Listen, you got to have your ride or die girls. You got to have your ride or die girls that got your back, because I'm going to tell you, when you have a good man, women will creep in and they will make it seem like it's something that is not, but it's up to your man to draw that line.
Ooh, child.
And turn away. But I'm going to tell you now, these sisters do make it hard on them. They make
aggressive.
Woo, honey, they aggressive. They giving it all they got. So Precious, right now, if your man ever mess up and we see him, you be on the road, you ain't got to worry about it. We got you. We got you. We slicing and dicing on the street. Don't mess with her.
Well, I do. So I'm like, okay.
Precious, I'm gonna speak peace and options.
Like I'm not gonna sit here and argue. I'm out. Like,
you know, Precious is so cute. Precious is like, I'm out. I'm not gonna even talk about it. I'm just out. So let me ask you guys a question, which this is like for real, because this is a different thing. Do you think the way you loved in your 20s is the same way you love now? Ooh, I knew I would get y'all. And guess what? We'll be right back after these commercial breaks. We're going to give the ladies time to think about it. And thank you for watching Real Talk with the Ladies on the 5Fs to Love Network. We'll be right back.
Look at me, I'm on. 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 Can't stop, keep going. Can't stop, keep going. Can't stop, keep going. Can't stop, keep going.
Look. Bag, I'm racing the clock. Look at them block, watching them flop. Used to see this in my sleep when I ain't had shit but my thoughts in the car. I really was lost. Now I'm public with the soundscapes. Niggas floss, I'm really pulling strings for the pound cake. I see you went for a puppet in the clown face for a little wage. That shit, the talk of the town is late. Still me, I never switch sides. Came a long way with the gas tank running on fumes.
Can't stop, keep going.
What's up with it? Do it cause I love it and I stuck with it. We ain't with the subbing in the cut with it. Please, none of the talks, I heard enough of it. Like, what you gonna do? Where you at? Who you with? You ain't really about this, don't talk about it. Really on the move, on the map, never slip. Keep your hands to your lips, don't talk about it. Real eyes, real lies, all the time. Stand on it, if we said it, we don't walk around it. Loose lips, sink ships, red cup, blue strips, new phone, who this? No, we don't allow it. Really on go, I don't know what's an off day. Now we on road, came from smoking in the hallway. Now we got shows, boys feeling like Broadway. Always look both ways, even on a crossway. Driving down Cross Bay, out town Barclays. Really on big things, came up a small way. Championship rings, baby, that's a ball game. Oh, she want a little bag, baby, that's small change. Yeah, that money talk. If we ain't cool, then cut me off. No breaking news, don't run your mouth. Thought it was the plug, now he running off. Thought it was a plug, now he running off. What you gon'
Okay, guys, welcome back to Real Talk with the Ladies on the 5Fs to Love Network. Rhonda, thank you so much for joining us tonight. She said, good evening, ladies. Hey, Dr. Mac. Dr. Mac Posse is now chiming in. Y'all better get ready, honey, because her crew ain't no joke over there. So before we left, I asked you guys a question. Like, do you think the way you loved in your 20s is the same way you love now? And all of y'all gasped and was like, whoo. So Rhumel, I'm kicking it to you because you've been with the same dude since your 20s.
I have been. I've been with him since I was 21. So, so the way that we were in love, it's just so different. It's a more immature love than what we have now. What we have now is deeper. We've been through things together. We've built trust in each other that takes just time, knowing that you can trust somebody with all your feelings, all your vulnerabilities, It's just different. It's you grow into that kind of love from your 20s, and now I'm in my 50s now.
Okay, Holly.
Well, I'm still in my 20s, but no, it's totally different. As you get older and you grow into the person that you are destined to become, you learn what is acceptable. Acceptable from other people as far as friendships, acceptable from people as far as relationships. I think in my 20s, I put up with a lot of I'm trying to think of a word that's not a cuss word, but I put up with a lot of nonsense in my 20s that I will not put up with now. I'm in a very different space now. So no, I'm definitely not loving the same. I still have the same energy.
That's the good news.
I know who I am. So
I think that's the ticket, though. You know who you are. I think that, you get to know yourself every year if you're lucky. And we know people who don't grow at all, and that's for another conversation. But I think that love has levels like everything else. Right. So if you do love the exact same way as you did in your 20s, I don't know if that's a good thing or if they're like categories to love, right? So I'll say, being with my husband as long as we've been together, we've had the opportunity to date, break up, date again, separate, come back again. And the last time we had a challenging moment, he pulled out letters because we write each other a lot.
I love that.
And he pulled out letters from our undergraduate experience. And when he read it, the intention was to just let me know what our love sounded like, but it sounded way too serious for the age. Like when I looked at the date and read some of the things that I was saying, I was like, oh, no way. Because I'm just now arriving at that love. Right. That I thought I had, right? So I had an idea. I had grand ideas about being in love. And through experience, I actually know what it is.
Right.
So I love differently because it's real love versus like going back and forth through what I thought it was.
Right.
Wow. Dr. Mac, you're right. I think when I look back at my little love letters, I was like loving, I was intense.
Y'all was writing letters. I was making mixtapes.
See, and it was real. It was real for where we were. It was real. It wasn't fake love. But you just look back and you say, "Wow, it's so much more than that. It's so much deeper than that." And it's still cute because you want to go back to that space and have little girl moments, but you grow.
No, it was definitely an innocent, naive phase of love.
It was. And wait a minute.
Growing pains don't need to be revisited.
Dr. Max people in on it. Okay, wait a minute.
9 inches for your little booty.
He said he bringing in some beats on that. All I gotta say is 9 inches. We can't have all of this.
We can't be bothered with that. Don't do that on the talk.
I don't even know. I hope that's nobody's friend. What's happening? But I gotta.
It ain't my friend.
It ain't
mine. It ain't nobody's friend. Okay, so let me ask you a question. I think a lot of times the way we interpret and process love, like I said to you guys, is my parents, right? I love those people. How much of your family dynamic has impacted your interpretation of love or expectations?
You had to go there.
Dang. So dang, y'all like, I can't do another commercial time. Dang, precious, like you had to go there. I mean, I'm asking because I know it plays a part. And by the way, if you're watching, we getting ready to go over by 10 minutes, so just roll with us. I just want to keep it real because we hot. We in it hot, and I got 2 more questions I need to get to. We in it hot. So, Precious, what's your thoughts?
So my mother was very violent with my father. Very violent, cut up his clothes. She poured boiling water on his genitals. Like I've seen some horrific stuff. So I don't even know if I would have known what real love is. In my 20s, I had this crazy, sexy, ridiculous, funky like I was with the same man from 16 to 23, left him, got into a relationship with a woman, madly in love with her, but very abusive verbally, because that's where I learned it from. And then with my ex-fiance, an angel, just like the halo, like he was good until it was truly over. But I was violent, like emotionally and physically, because I was mad at him for loving his mother so much when I couldn't love my mother didn't love me. So that, I think that's why I'm so kind of like, I don't know if I learned some lessons. I'm not a violent person anymore. I'm not verbally abusive. I do know that. But yeah, I saw some horrific things growing up, not just from my mom and my dad, but what was happening in the hood, in our hood. So I'm glad I got out of that. But yeah, the 20s was roughed up, and I don't want to repeat those mistakes that I saw at our home or anything like that. So it was crazy, ridiculous, stupid. Don't make no sense.
Holly, what about you? Precious, you know I was on the cusp of crime, but I can't deal with you, Precious. You know how you do that to me. But go ahead, Holly. You see, I'm trying to pull it together.
I'm kind of in the same space as Precious. My mother flat out told me she stayed with my father until my youngest brother graduated from high school so she could make sure that all her children had diplomas, and then she was done. There was no love in that marriage. It was just very structured. They would do their day to day, and my mom made sure we were all okay, and my dad went to work and made sure the bills were paid, and there was never any hand-holding or I had no example of what a loving, fulfilling marriage looked like. So when I got in my 20s, that definitely posed a problem. I'm not faulting them for that, because now I'm grown, so I have my own expectations, and I had to come to some realizations on my own. But it definitely did play a part in where I was in my 20s and how I looked at love, or how I understood what love should be, because everything at that point for me was what I was seeing on TV. Because what I wasn't seeing at home needed to be interpreted to me another kind of way.
Right. And I really thank you guys for sharing it. I can only tell you that my biological father was extremely abusive. I used to get beat over ice trays because it wasn't any ice in the ice trays, because he liked to drink. And it was just a horrible way to grow up, to the point when I moved out, of course, and had a child, I never had ice trays, ever. We never had ice. And I remember we moved, and I was looking at refrigerators, and my son said to me, he says, "Mom, all my other friends have refrigerators that make ice. Can we get one?" And in that moment, I was like, I felt like, oh my God, what have I done? Right? Because I'm thinking I'm carrying this over. But the thing is, I had to realize my mom married this awesome guy after that tragic moment. And I thought that all the counseling I had gone through, watching two couples, I went from seeing a horrible relationship to what it was like to really love somebody. But you still carry some of those little things with you. And I had to let go. So now I got I got two refrigerators that got ice makers. You know, I got ice cubes that look like characters. I didn't live it up now, you know.
Oh, you one of them.
So the thing is, folks, you gotta, don't let that family thing impact you to the point where you can't breathe or get beyond that moment.
But like, you don't know. So Christine, that takes work, right?
And that's what I'm saying. I went through counseling. Yeah, I went through counseling, like a lot.
What's interesting with some of my youngest students is I say, raise your hand if you love someone in your family that you don't admire. And everybody raises their hand. And I say, everybody says, you know, that you're supposed to look up to X, Y, and Z. Raise your hand if you don't know anybody that you look up to. The almost 98% of the class raises their hand. And this is 5th grade to undergrad. In that moment, I say, well, you have the opportunity to unlearn things and write your story. And they said, well, Dr. Mack, how do we unlearn? I said, well, the person that you don't admire has influenced your character already. And then I asked them, where did you learn how to curse? I said, what, Dr. Mack? How do you know how to curse? I said, I know how to curse because I curse just like my mother. I said, all my MF and B's go in the exact same row as hers. I said, and I didn't realize it until I heard her come out of my mouth.
Mm-hmm.
In that moment, you have a choice to repeat the things that you don't like and continue the behaviors that you don't like, or say, you know what, this is that person in me. I have to work to get them out. I have to consciously pause when I'm like, oh, I'm turning into fill in the blank with whoever that person is. And sometimes we don't clean it out and we just poison really good people and really good relationships because we haven't unlearned and decided to rebrand who we want to be. And we say things like, I'm a Capricorn, this is how I act, or I've always been like this. We from this how we act, or my mama like this, so I'm like that. And that's always the easiest excuse to not change, because change is hard and therapy is self-inflicted surgery. So if you're willing to like really gut yourself from some of the damages and some of the infiltrations of all kinds of ways of thinking in your household, and you want to decide to be different from everybody in your family, oh, it takes some work, but it's so gratifying.
It is. So, and Dr. Mac, I thank you for that. And one of the people I look up to every day, I love her to pieces, is Precious. Her story, the first time I heard, I'm not going to get emotional. The first time I heard it, I kid you not, I was in tears. Because to know the journey that she's going through, to be the person she is right now, that's why I love her. And that's why I always tell her, I don't care what time it is, whatever you need. She knows if she called me, I stop. And I do whatever I got to do to help my girl, because my thing is, she has really flipped her life upside down and made herself a success despite everything that she has endured. And that's what I say, folks, if you really want to be something different or do something different, forget looking at Christine. Y'all better get them books Precious got, honey, because she tells the story. Now, I'm going to tell you, Rhonda, I know you one of Dr. Mac's girls. That's all. I didn't even have to look at the full thing. She said, good evening, ladies. Hey, Dr. Mac.
Hey.
And she tossed in, she said, spammer.
Oh, they're protective. She said it's a spammer in the chat.
Honey, he is. I had to check him out because they love playing around with me.
Oh, he was about to go ham and cheese.
She said, I love the phrase. She said, it was real for where we were. Honey, that's what it was real for that moment. And then, Gerald, what you doing still up? This is
40.
All right, fellow pastor. Oh, that's a great point, Dr. Mac. All right, Gerald. And then we got Pretty Nikki. She said, love this Dr. Mac. Don't we love Dr. Mac?
We sure do.
Honey, Dr. Mac, my best friend since college. Is Dr. Mac on tonight? I ain't watching unless Dr. Mac on. You my friend. You need to be watching because I'm on. She said, you on every night. That don't mean, okay. She said, woo, she said, y'all made me hang up for my phone call. She said, this is resonating hard for me. She said, thanks for the transparency. Honey, we all done hung up from our calls. Gerald said, hey, ladies, because this is a real conversation. And the thing is that as women, we do carry a buttload of the responsibility in these relationships. We really do. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. And I'm going to tell you, it's a couple shows coming up. Honey, I can't even tell you. It's going to be me, Dr. Mac, and Holly. And when we talk to y'all better get some tissue. Because I'm going to tell you right now, it's going to be a tear. Y'all, I ain't even wearing no makeup because it's going to be a tearjerker. Because women need to understand who we are in these spaces. And despite whatever we've gone through, we still have to be women. And we have to be uniquely who we are and love ourselves more than anybody else. Now, on that note, I'm about to ask y'all on the closing. Does your love increase for someone based on your happy moments and decrease during the turbulence, or is it consistent? Now, think about that before you answer, because y'all know sometimes in the moments you'd be like, I'm about to punch him in the throat, but I love him, but I'm about to punch him in the throat. Now, let's keep it real, ladies. Okay, Rhumel, you know I'm starting with you because your husband takes the trash out. And he
takes the trash out, and that's a good thing. But when it's turbulent, I think maybe my happiness is not as high, but my love I don't for him is genuine and it's true. And so I don't think that my love decreases. I mean, through the turbulent times, maybe my happiness with where we are might be in trouble, be more turbulent.
I like that. That's a good one. Okay, Precious, you looking down like we on you remember the whole family, the Brady Bunch, she looking down like
No, I was really thinking about that with my ex-fiance, and I got to tell you, the reason why Beyonce's Halo was him is because when things got rough, he didn't check out. He was like, I'm right here. And as much as you would think a brother would run, he was like, no, I'm leaving my family behind. We're gonna get through this together. And that's something that how could you not love him even more through it? Because I'm ready to snatch my own edges. But he's like, together we get through this. And he was a stand-up dude. That's what I'm trying to say. He was stand up. Aww. So I loved him even more through it because he didn't run. He was like, I'm a movement by myself. Myself. But baby, you make, and that's really,
I love it.
Come on. She done threw when she cracked when she throwing her beats. Holly, what's up with you? What's your thoughts?
I think, like I said before, like happiness is a component of love. Mm-hmm. So if your love wavers based on your happiness, I think you really need to check what your love is based on. Keeping me happy, while it is a priority, it's not the only thing. If we can't make it through a little bit of a storm without my love changing, depending on what that storm is, Precious. I see your face. I know what you're like. Depending on what the storm is. I think it's something where you should be able to say at the end of the night, yeah, today was hard, but I still love you.
Yeah.
If you can't say that, then you really need to check where you're at in that relationship.
I like that.
You might be in your 20s too.
Right. Well, look, before we get started, somebody's husband did a full shout out to his baby.
Oh my God.
I want to tell you, Dr. Mac, you know I love your husband. He just cracks me up. He love him some Dr. Mac.
I love Dr. Mac.
She said, you better. That's what Diamond Wright said. We already know whose posse that is. We won't even get into it.
Is that the check-in for you to go, Dr. Mac?
Not yet. We'll know.
Oh, trust me. Oh, honey, she'll do like this. All right, I'm out. Everybody have a good night. She didn't did it. Don't even fool with Dr. Mac. So, Dr. Mac, what's your thoughts?
I think that there's love and there's in love. And in love usually means who you're in the commitment with and who you've kind of, pledged your loyalty to. So I think that the first part, there's if I have ever been in love with you or we've had a commitment to one another, us having a separation or deciding that we're no longer in a relationship, my love didn't just go away because it didn't just show up, right? Mm-hmm. So when people break up or when people sever ties, it's like, I don't understand what your love was if it's like a switch on, switch off type of thing. So my, one of my first loves, who is married to a wonderful woman now, he fell ill a few years back and it was a life-threatening situation. And at the same time, his wife was having a issue with almost going blind because of another situation. And they had just given birth to their third child. And there's nothing about where I am now that would not make me care to support a lot of the different things that they had in place to get out of that challenge. So I looked to my husband and I said, we have to help them because my love was real when it was real. And it didn't just disappear because he wasn't the man for me. As it relates to my husband, nothing makes the love go away. They're like my ebbs and flows and happiness, because happiness is my choice. Happiness is up to me. He can enhance it, but if I'm not happy, it's my fault. And something that's my fault shouldn't shift how much I love him in any moment. Now, in love is a different situation because you work to stay in love. You do things to stay in love and you do things consistently to keep that going. But love, real love, you gonna pick up the phone. you're gonna care when their grandmother or their mom passes. If you truly ever love them, you don't want them suffering in any way. And if you do, then you gotta kind of, I'm with Holly, you need a love assessment.
You know what? It ain't nothing else for me to say. Y'all didn't say it all. All I can say is good night and thank you for watching tonight.
And I love y'all. That works. That's
Wait a minute. Like, here she go. Rhumel like this. I'm going to tell you, I learned a lot. And ladies, and I'll say this again. I know we go through a lot as women, but this is just a real conversation. We just really need to understand who we are in these spaces. And if y'all don't get it, y'all need to make sure y'all tune in, because Dr. Mac, we got pretty Nikki. She said, Dr. Mac, she loves you. You know what, Dr. Mac, I'm just sick of this. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm a hater. Okay? I'm a hater. Look, I'm a hater.
You tell me to have my people show up, they show up. We love it.
They show up. But I love it. And I love that when we get on and we talk, we're able to have a real conversation. And I'm telling you, I would do this week after week and after week with y'all, because I love the conversation that we have. It's a real conversation. And it's what women need to know, that they're not alone out here. All of us, married, not married, you know what I mean? We're sharing our truth and where we are in our space, and somebody's going to identify with that. So I appreciate you guys doing this. And before we go, I got to share Mr. Major. He said, love the show, ladies. Good night, Holly. All I got to say is, on that note, and Diamond Rice said, this is beautiful. I can't wait to tune in again. Folks, thank you so much for watching us. Pretty Nikki said, thank you all for allowing us to be vulnerable in a safe space, even virtually. You know what, Pretty Nikki, you make sure you come back every week. All right, because that's the whole purpose of this show, folks, is that we want you guys to have a safe space to talk, share your ideas, and connect with one of us. So on that note, ladies, you know what I always say, I can't wait till next week. We continue this conversation. I'm going to tell y'all next week it's going to be hot in here. So take off all your clothes. I can't wait to next week. All right. So ladies, as always, thank you for a great conversation. Thank you for joining us on Real Talk with the Ladies on the 5F's to Love Network. We'll see you guys next Tuesday. But tomorrow, y'all know, don't miss Dr. Mac, you and Galen need to have a show together. I need a McDowell against a McDowell. I need a Mac versus a Mac. It needs to be a McDowell.
Return of the McDowell.
We got practice. I'm okay with that.
It needs to be a McDowell. Chicago versus Chicago. Because, honey, that's all I got to say. It'll be a good show. I'm going to have to talk to Galen about that. A Mac against a Mac. We'll see what's happening. All right, ladies, I'll see you next week. And as always, thank you so much for all your love and support. Have a good night, guys. Bye. And join us on the 5F's to Love Network every night from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m.